Oh dear. I've just realized we were on mute. I've just realized. So 1 minute in, I was on mute. Right. I'm now off mute. Okay. Really sorry about that. Wow. That did not go down very well, did it, as a start? So let's start again. Code snippets in dedicated live chat, mainly because I have a vested interest in using Code Snippets Pro and Code Snippets and working with the team behind the scenes. And I really love it. I love using code snippets, and I want to kind of build up a bit of momentum with getting other people to get more involved with code snippets. So I'm going to talk very briefly about what's the benefits of it and why should you use it, and really what I'd like to see a lot of you getting involved in helping to, number one, spread the love for code snippets, but also get involved in kind of creating code snippets. Now, Digi, this is a live chat dedicated to code snippets. So any questions that come in which are not to do with code snippets or anything I can't really answer, because it might be about code snippets, but I still might not have the answer for it, I'm not going to be answering them. So unfortunately, any WordPress dedicated questions, they're normally for WordPress. Your question was about how do I create a 3D website in Elementor. I think that's for you to go and investigate what you think is going to be useful for you. So code snippets, I have a vested interest. I work with the team behind the scenes. I just felt that a live chat that was dedicated to code snippets would help to build up a bit of momentum. And I've just got to quickly check something over here. Right. Okay. So what's the point of code snippets? In the past, we are very much used to just downloading plugins and installing plugins, right? And some people are guilty of using 60, 70 plugins for not many good reasons, especially when you download a plugin just to get one or two little things. A classic example is dynamic.oo. Hey, Kate Demore, how you doing? A lot of people download dynamic.oo just to be able to show repeater fields in Elementor in their website. How many of you would agree with that? Please let me know in the comments, and don't forget to smash the like button. How many of you use dynamic.oo just to do that, for the repeater field? Because loads of people get dynamic.oo for loads of things. There's so many amazing features on it. But I know a lot of people that do it just to get that. And by the way, I probably should have mentioned this right at the start. We hit 50,000 subscribes. I mean, what a day to start the Code Snippets live chat. We hit 50,000 subscribers. And I want to say a load of love to everyone out there, because we could not have done it without you and your continued support. Absolutely, Kate. I do love, I mean, you will have seen my videos I keep putting out about code snippets, right? So obviously there is a little bit of biased love going on there. Anyway, dynamic.oo, repeater fields. Now, we put out a video yesterday showing you how you could add repeater fields to your Elementor posts. You could even be Elementor products, anything that's got a loop grid and dynamic tags. You can do all of that with a code snippet. So I'm now saving you $49. How much is dynamic.oo? I'm probably wrong now. I think it's $49, right? I'm saving you $49 a year with a code snippet, because that's what you had to do to get repeater fields in before, right? Palav, I'm not going to answer any questions that are not code snippet related. That's because this is a code snippet related live chat, which I know is going to annoy a lot of people, but that's just the way it goes, right? So I've saved you $49. And if I just share my screen for a moment, and I hope this is going to work. This probably won't work. There we go, right? I've already put together about 47 public snippets. And what I do is I spend a lot of time researching and trying to find snippets that I think are going to be useful to you, to me, to basically anyone and everyone. Because I feel that if we can reduce the amount of plugins that we use with a code snippet, doesn't that make your life a whole lot better? Now, what I mean by that is, I'm just going to hide this for a moment, is there's nothing wrong with using a plugin at all, because plugins will give you a whole lot more. So let's just be honest and frank right now, okay? Dynamic.oo, to show repeater fields in your WordPress website, is going to give you more features for dynamic fields and for the repeater field. You're going to have more settings for styling. You're going to have more functionality. But if you just wanted to show the repeater field and you're happy to use a bit of CSS, did you watch the video I put out yesterday? I hope you did, right? So I'm showing you how you can do repeater fields and all of that. If you're happy to use a bit of CSS for a bit of styling and you're comfortable with that, that code snippet has just saved you a plugin and $49. And what you're going to find with a lot of the code snippets that I've put together already, and I've done videos and stuff, some of them are WooCommerce related or WordPress related. Mainly, I'm trying to reduce the need for you to go and get a premium plugin. Or look, how many of you have got WooCommerce websites and you've probably got about 5 or 6 extra plugins just to do this, 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 and this? And the more we can reduce the reliance on third-party plugins with a bit of a code snippet, the more in control you are. And one of the really wonderful features about using code snippets, which, I always, this is one of the reasons I really love it, is how we can activate and deactivate. So if I go, I don't want to use the repeater field, fine, I can switch it off. You're almost in control over what you're doing. Right, I'm just going to quickly answer some questions before I continue, reminding everyone this is a Code Snippets dedicated live chat. Don't forget to smash the like button. John, I'm really glad that after hopefully watching some of the videos, was there any particular code snippet that really made you go, yes? What code snippet made you suddenly sit up and take notice? Please let us know in the comments. Aishman, I'm not going to answer any questions that are not code snippet related, okay? And what I would say, Aishman, is don't keep duplicating your question, because you know what? It's not a good way to come across, okay? No one likes that. Eddie says, I would like to know better how to download code snippets from other users. Okay, so if I just go over here, right, back to the code snippets, let's say, Eddie, basically you can do a search. So I might do a search for WooCommerce cart. Let's see what we get. And you can see loads of items are now appearing with regards to WooCommerce cart. And you can scroll down. One of the problems, though, is not everyone puts in a description. So can you see there's a description there? If you are going to upload like a code snippet, please put in a description, because if you don't, it's not very user friendly. So I would recommend people do that. But let's say I wanted to go and get this one. I could go over and I could now read the instructions if there are any, and I could just copy this code, or I could download it as well. Normally I would say just copy it, go over to code snippets, create a brand new snippet, give it a title, paste it in, save changes, and activate, which I'm not going to do over here for now. But that's how quick and easy it is. So I don't know if that answers your question. So what you can do, Eddie, is go over to codesnippets.cloud. Okay, codesnippets.cloud. Go over and find snippets and do a search for snippets. And you can do searches in particular categories as well. The drop down is not appearing on the screen, but there is a drop down over here when I click the categories, but you can't see that at the moment. I hope that helps. Pez, I use code snippets for speed optimization. Hey everyone, have you seen the page speed optimization 2024 video and the videos I tend to do? Don't forget to hit the like button. I use a lot of code snippets, actually 5 or 6, I think. And those code snippets help to load your web fonts a bit better, explicit width and height, and other things as well. So those code snippets remove the need for you to go and use WP Rocket or Perf Matters and stuff like that. Again, I'm not saying don't use those plugins, because those plugins give you tons more features. I'm not going to lie. But my code snippets are the basics that might be enough. So do you really need to go and spend $40, $50, $100, sometimes annual, you're paying every year, for something that you could do for free? Because at the end of the day, a lot of these plugins are built on the back end of a bit of coding. And I would always say, if someone's put hard work in, they deserve to be paid for it. But if you can generate or come up with that code and someone gives it away for free, why would you not go and get hold of it? Because a lot of these codes are available for free. So Sam goes, how can we find codes like mine? So if you were to go over to Code Snippets Cloud, and do you know what? I actually do forget what mine are. Let me just go and click this one here. I'm going to paste the link over here into the chat. So I'm going to paste it into here. So I've just pasted it in. If you go to codesnippets.cloud snippet and then /web squadron, you will find all of the snippets that I've currently put together or not, or however I've done it. I hope that answered the question, Sam. Just quickly checking the questions. Trendzilla, what would be the reason that code snippets will not work? It worked before, but it stopped working. I don't know. It could be. I mean, you're saying you're using a child theme. What has changed in your backend system? Because if they worked before, what is it? Is it the syntax? Is it the plugin it touched has changed? What is it? And was it any particular plugin or something that had affected it? Hey, Mark. Now, Mark is one of our legends when it comes to code snippets. So if Mark wants to join in the live chat, he can do. The Code Snippets live chat is going to be restricted to members of the Code Snippets team or some key members. And Mark Harris is what I class as a key member. So if he wants to join, he can. If he doesn't have to. He has come up with loads of code snippets. And I'm going to talk to you all about how you can get involved. I'm just going to quickly scroll down a little bit. Yeah, I mean, look, Kate makes a really good point. You are reducing the reliance on a third party because now you're in control of one little snippet. It's really easy to get a plugin and maybe Elementor updates or WordPress updates or the plugin updates, and you have a conflict or a problem. But it was because there was loads of other stuff in that plugin and there's a glitch or a bug somewhere. But I know that if I have a plugin which is just to load the web font or maybe to generate CSS grid codes like what Mark Harris did, I know that is just for that. And it doesn't matter what the other plugins do, unless the core syntax or coding for what is Elementor container, they changed it a year ago from container to cont, C-O-N-T. Unless something really specific changes, you're kind of bulletproof a little bit, which is why I love doing that. I'm just checking some of the questions. Hey, Linda, how are you doing? John, like I said, go and share that. Go and see that link I shared above, and that will help you go and have a look at it. Oh, that's weird. I mean, I'm on the website right now. Surprisingly, I'm live right now. I'm just going to click this unless the website's suddenly out. Okay, look. There is a good chance, right? This is not a good advertisement for Code Snippets now. There is a good chance that they're probably updating something because someone said something about 5 minutes before I went on the live chat, and I've got a feeling they're quickly running an update. So hopefully they'll be onto that. Okay, I'm just checking some of the comments. Right, okay. Yeah, we've probably killed it. That's what. No. I think what happened is 5 minutes before I went on the live chat, I think they were just introducing something onto the pro version. I think they just need to refresh, purge the cache and stuff like that. By the way, I'm going to just grab the link. And this link is for Mark Harris only. Okay. Now, I'll wait for Mark to come on, and then if Mark does join in, I'll talk to you a bit more about how did I go and create loads of snippets. How did Mark do it? Because we have a very similar strategy in how we do it, and this is something I'm going to be reaching out and calling out to you. In fact, let me explain this a bit better. Code snippets can be your friend with generating codes to reduce the reliance on plugins. Number 2, Code Snippets gives you a ton of control. Number 3, you could go and use the Code Snippets cloud to go and store your snippets, loads of them. And whenever you're working with a client, you could go in and use my snippets, your snippets, someone else's snippets. You can even download a bundle of snippets. So did you know the page speed performance snippets that I put together for 2024? You can actually download all of them in one go and then activate them one by one by one by one, 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 one. You can do all of that. So when you factor that all in, you can make your WordPress website and your theme do more than what you thought what you couldn't do before. So you could be using Elementor, but now you can take it a step further, like the repeater fields. You could be using WooCommerce, just WooCommerce, and now you can control the minimum, maximum cart values. Maybe you're going to have different thank you pages for different products. Maybe you're going to get rid of certain tabs on WooCommerce that you don't like. You can do all of that with code snippets. And what the code snippets team are really passionate about is, hey, friendly girl, how are you? Is letting or reminding people of the fact that you can use code snippets for free, right? I think that is something that sometimes some people do sometimes forget. You can use it for free. There is a pro version. Of course, the code snippets team are going to want you to sign up to the pro version. Are you kidding me? Verdi wants to buy himself a Lamborghini because quite lucky. He could ride in a Lamborghini and not worry about his hair getting messed up, whereas mine would. You know, he'd actually go faster because the wind would just slide over his head. But there is a premium version, and there are some extra benefits to go with it. But 900,000. Hang on, it isn't. Yeah, it's 900,000 people are currently using the free version of Code Snippets, and the team want to make more noise about the fact that you can get this for free. Loads of other companies want to talk about the pro version. The Code Snippets team are more passionate about the free version. They want you to use it. They want you to download it. They want you to tell your grandma to use it. You know, pretend it will help her microwave to run faster or something. Lie if you have to. Right, I'm now just going to... Hey, Mark, by the way.
Hello.
Thank you for joining.
No problem. How are you?
Well, all right. I feel like sometimes though, doing live chats at this evening tends to be towards the point where I'm trying to wind down a little bit after the long day. But anyway, we are now doing Code Snippets live chats. So I touched on it very briefly, but I think the last year, I would say definitely, I started using ChatGPT, kind of January time 2023. And that's when my, like the light bulb moment started kicking in with how I could start to use ChatGPT to help generate code snippets. Doesn't give you the answer straight away. You have to modify your prompts. But did you want to talk a bit about the kind of journey and your process, which I know is going to be very similar, but do you have like, do you just go in with a random prompt sometimes, then just see where it goes?
No, I tend to go in with an idea or a problem I'd kind of like to solve. It's inspiration sometimes. I think one of my snippets, it was something I saw Paul paying for in one of his streams. I thought, oh, hang on, can we not do that with a snippet? And going with it, and then once you've got the idea, it's wording the thing right to get you started. Fighting with AI's laziness sometimes to get it to actually bother to do it rather than give you an outline. But yeah, you can get a lot done with very little knowledge or know-how.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, with me, it was very similar with like finding, sometimes I'd be like, well, there's got to be a way where when you go to the media library, you don't have to keep clicking load more. There's got to be a way to do infinite scroll. Boom, boom, boom. An hour later of back and forth, we had an answer. And I was like, why? I can't be the first person to like come up with this code. So, maybe, and then I realized actually it is available, but it's behind a paywall with a paid plugin. And what really drove me was how every time anyone posted about repeater fields, even if you got ACF Pro, which you need to have for the ACF repeater field, you had to go to Dynamic OO. Every time anyone asked a question about how do I get that into Elementor single post, every answer was Dynamic OO, Dynamic OO. And it really drove me potty because Dynamic OO is a really good plugin, but $49 just to do that, it felt like.
Can you not use Elementor anywhere as well? I think you can, but
Which one was that?
is it Elementor anywhere or something? It's an
I don't know if
old plugin that
I
was
don't think that
around.
works anymore.
Is it not?
No, I think they stopped updating that a while ago. And it was always like you got to get a whole plugin, or you got to pay just for this one little thing. So I did a lot of research, got together a code snippet. I have to say though, and if anyone from Elementor is watching, come on, get your finger out. These code snippets are out there. There's nothing to stop you taking that snippet and adding it building it in, right? It's there. Look at Mark Harris, he pulled together the code for, well, when I say look at Mark Harris, I don't mean look at him on screen because he's right there. But there's this extra bit of code now. Elementor love to have a sidebar where they might tell you what's new or they might tell you what's coming up. Why don't you now add in a CSS grid button or something that kind of now uses the code from the code snippet so that you can now generate your CSS grids? Because I'm sure you're going to jump in now. There was a question asked on the Web Squadron group about how do I do this bento layout? And it was like,
It didn't even start there. It was on the Elementor group first, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then he asked the same question, and it's like the same people gave the same answers. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, if you were behind Elementor, surely you'd look at plugins that people have built, snippets that people have written, and go, this is the stuff people want. Let's take this as inspiration. They're liking this. They're using this. Let's add it into our. None of us are going to moan. We're making these things because they fill a need in our day to day.
Oh, do you know what? Only people that follow our channel or are part of our group are now going to know about this repeater field code snippet. And I did the video about 6 months ago, and I've redone it with some extra bits. And I always feel like there's a massive chunk of the market and audience that are still going to go down using a third-party plugin or whatever solution they decide to use because they don't know about it. And this is where I get a little bit cross in that we've done the hard work, we've done the experimentation, we've done the trial and error, we know it works. Here you go. If you want to use the code, it's publicly available. Take the code and stick it in into Elementor or Bricks or any other solution. What I do want to say about so John makes a really good point. So what I'm trying to kick off is, can we start to create plugins that reduce the need for you to use a third-party plugin? However, I fully respect the hard work that other third-party plugins do, and the fact that you will probably have better styling, better features, more functionality. There will be a support system, and they will always keep on top of their plugin. That being said, though, John, if, like, for instance, so I'm just going to get rid of that question if I can. Where am I yet? If you imagine you go and use a plugin and it has now a CSS grid feature, for instance, I don't think future updates are going to make a sod all difference. They might affect other features that are reliant on your PHP or whatever Elementor's doing. But there are some things where it's not going to make a difference because the code ain't going to change. It's like the loading of WebP fonts. It ain't going to change. It's like the revisions for your posts. It's like, oh, my mind's gone blank now. Lazy load. They're not going to change. So I always feel like if you want the other stuff that you get with, say, Dynamic OO. Okay, look, I'm jumping all over the place here. When I did my page speed video in 2023, there were people from WP Rocket developers criticizing my code snippets. They were like, this is rubbish, this doesn't work properly. And I challenged some of them. And we eventually got to the point whereby they weren't happy because loads of my code snippets were basically doing what their buttons do. Now, they will improve their plugin to do other things. And if you want all those other features, bells and whistles, you go and get their plugin. But if you're completely happy with just just use the code snippet. And I feel like there's a massive untapped market. I don't know how to do this. I've tried and I keep coming unstuck. But why do we need to go and get why do you have to pay $199, I think it is, a year for WooCommerce subscriptions? Surely there's got to be a way that you could potentially do it with a code snippet. There's got to be a way, but it's going to take a bit of skill and a bit of effort because you've got to then hook into all the endpoint. You've got to be able to do something funky. But I am not convinced that you should pay.
The Woo is really well documented, and actually ChatGPT does a really great job at WooCommerce based snippets. I've done quite a lot with that. Most of it's really niche, though.
Yeah,
You know, for a specific client who's got a really particular need. And subscriptions, though, that's an interesting one.
but yeah, I mean, look, I know it's got you thinking now, hasn't it? It's got you thinking. But because like I think I've put out tons of WooCommerce or e-commerce related code snippets, and I always feel like that is an area that people are still too quick to rush over and get a third party plugin to do something. And I'm sure there are loads of other plugins that people are using. Admin site enhancements that came out about 7-8 months ago, I think. Loads of people got really excited about that. But when I look at that plugin, 99% of it is just code snippets that have been stylized into a nice interface. Deactivate this, activate that. That's what it is. And loads of people got excited because it was all in one place now. And I would love to have people out there kind of like having a go. Don't be afraid of having a go with ChatGPT or whatever AI solution you want to use. Code Snippets does have AI built in as well. It's forever evolving, machine learning, Skynet, and all that shit. But it's forever learning and evolving. And I feel like you've seen what Mark's done. You've seen what I've done. You've seen what Luther Harity did. He provided some code as well. You've seen the repeater code snippets I put out yesterday. There's always an opportunity in that we can either sit and wait for someone to make a solution, or we just keep paying or relying on third-party plugins, or we have a go. And I would love it if some of you are able to discover a new way of doing something, which I have to be, and again, I want to be really careful here with how I say this, because I'm not saying don't ever use that third-party plugin again. I'm just saying that for maybe one or two features, maybe you don't have to use a third-party plugin now. You could just use a code snippet. Right now, I bet you're looking at WooCommerce subscriptions, aren't you?
No, I was kind of thinking about it, but I wasn't looking at it.
No.
It's the recurring payment side of things.
What I will say, John, there is no good way, I'm going to say, because what it comes down to is trying to tell ChatGPT what you want to do, trying to provide some steps, and most of the time it will chuck out some code. You paste it in, and then code snippet says error, and you go back and go, well, this has got an error. And then ChatGPT then says, yes, you're right. Let me improve it for you. And you sit there going, why'd you give me the wrong one in the first place then? And then it improves it, and it runs, and it works. And then you go, but there's one extra thing we need. And it then refines it, and now it doesn't work. And then you say to it, no, go back a step. And then it goes back a step. And then it doesn't give you the full code. And you go, no, give me the full code, you stupid machine. And then it gives you the full code. And you go, no, this is different. Go back to that one. I have lost sometimes 7 or 8 hours in a day.
Oh, and then you hit the message limit, of course.
Oh, well, yeah. Like my whole day, back and forth, back and forth. If you've got the time. And it depends on how passionate you are about cracking something.
It feels good when you do. even
But
though
oh god,
even
it
though
is,
you've not
isn't it?
actually written it yourself, it still feels really,
It
really good.
is. And I know some people will say, "Oh, but ChatGPT did the code." Well, not necessarily. You've had to drive it, right? It's the prompts you give. It's how you then say, "Great, so now you've done that. Now change this to handle different product IDs. Now change this to handle generating a short code aspect for it or whatever." Um, so you still have to drive it. So you still have to bring like that intelligence in because you're trying to foresee what other people might use it for.
Hmm.
So again, I keep mentioning the ACF repeater code I put out yesterday. You have a version with bullets, without bullets, without bullets and commas. Then there's a version where you have many fields in the repeater. So you try and think of what would other people need. And I feel like that's where you're able to basically make the code snippet amazing. And like Mark says, when it works, it's the nicest feeling ever. You're proud of it. You feel like you've just generated this little baby, and it's a wonderful feeling.
Hmm.
Eddie says, I find the plugins in the WooCommerce store. Oh, yeah, and I feel like that's the kind of gist about why I feel like sometimes you just want one little thing, and then you go and get a plugin, and where if it's free, it does a little bit, but not everything you need. And then if you want to get the premium version, you know, is your client prepared to cough up $100, $200 a year, which is what it comes down to sometimes.
Hmm. David Miles asked a question that's quite
Oh, did
interesting.
he? Is it?
Well, it's more of a statement. This is why I like using WP Turbo.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually cancelled my subscription to that this week. I found I wasn't using it, and you add that cost on to the fact that I've tied it into Chat GPT or their API for version 4, and I couldn't get on with it. It didn't seem. I mean, it's got some extra nice features, but for what I was doing, I wasn't using it enough. I think some of these AI solutions that are cropping up, they're all just sort of coming off the back of ChatGPT and OpenAI and putting
Yeah.
a layer in between you and it to try and tweak the results and put in a set of rules for output. It's kind of weird because I put together a ChatGPT inside the back end of WordPress thing, didn't I? I don't think we've ever shown anybody it, but I think I showed you.
Which one was
It's
that?
like a little chat bot in the lower right
Yes,
corner.
I remember that. Yeah.
So yeah, you could have ChatGPT in your back end of WordPress to ask it questions and things like that, and it kind of works, but it's kind of pointless. But it was fun.
There's always a reason, Mark, why I don't record a video. I kind of go, what's the, are
Did
people
I
going to
send you the
like
code or
this?
did I just show you it? I can't
I think
remember.
you showed it to me. You did. I
Yeah,
think
because you
AP.
needed a subscription, you needed
Yeah.
the API key, so it was a kind of very niche, but
I want
yeah,
to
it
just
was fun.
answer Palab's question. So I did find a snippet to look at post views, but I wasn't sure of how many people would care about it, but I might revisit it. I just want to quickly touch on what John says, though. Do we need to load the snippets in any order? No, not really. No, to be honest, no. Not really, no. I mean, no. I mean, it's not like you're running a SQL database where you've got stored procedures that have to run in order before, you can use the results. But no, it doesn't really matter. Driving First says he's using code snippets and ACF to make a complete driving school system from bookings to instructor assignments. Wow.
That's cool.
I love the sound of that, Driving First.
Hmm.
I mean, if it works, get in touch with me, share the snippets, share what your process is. Don't just send me the snippets. Some people do just send me snippets, right? Not you, Mark, but there are some, they just send it and I'm like, what the heck's this meant to do? What does it mean? Do I have to like literally brainstorm and work out what it is? But if you think this is working, please share it. Because you know, I'd love to put it out there if you're happy to put it out there, of course, because it might be something you don't really want to share out there. Rob McDonald. Sorry, go on, Mark. You were going to say
No,
something.
you do that, and then after that, David Miles asks another great question a bit further down.
Yeah. No,
But do this one
no,
first.
Code Snippets Pro has no bearing on the snippets. Code Snippets Pro is for some extra features like using bundles and searching and downloading directly without having to copy and paste. That's all it is. But if you are not using Code Snippets Pro, you will not lose any snippets. You can take that to the bank.
You can tell it's
I've always
late in
wanted
the
to say
day,
that, but
can't you?
anyway, I've just found a reason to do it. Do you want to go and do Dave's question?
Yeah, so this is something I've played around with quite a bit, using code snippets and calling data from APIs. I don't know whether you meant your own but I did a really fun one for Google Maps. So obviously you were going to use Google Maps API, and then I did one with the Unsplash API, and ChatGPT knows how to use those APIs. So
Yeah.
it's really quite easy.
I'm just going to quickly touch on Kate's question. So sometimes I have found a code snippet or a snippet. It doesn't have to be a code snippet. It can be from elsewhere on the web. And I've stuck it into ChatGPT and I've literally said, explain what this does. And it breaks it down and starts to tell me. I mean, I sometimes say, now pretend I'm 5 years old. It does it in an even simpler way. What's really funny is when it starts to use examples like, imagine there's a duck. And now this and I'm like, I got it. I can visualize it now. There is a lot of trial and error, Kate. I find that you have to really dumb it down. Okay, so I will say I have got a custom field. This is what I'll write into ChatGPT. My custom field is called X. I now want that to show on my single post template. I want it to be a short code. I want it to do X, Y, Z, and I might end up writing quite a bit because I'm trying to feed to ChatGPT the aim of what I want to get to, and it won't always get it right. But the more you can give it, the better. If you just say, give me a code snippet to show repeater fields, it will chuck something out, but I guarantee you it will be nowhere near the answer you need it to be. So you got to kind of throw in a little bit of intelligence for what you're trying to aim for, what you're trying to get.
And sometimes I find building up the complexity helps as well.
Oh, do you know what? That's the trick, actually. And I think Mark works similar to me, where you start small, just to make sure it's on the right track. And then I go, right, I'll test that. Yeah, that works. Now do this. And then it does that. Now do this. And you're kind of getting it to go from like basic to expanding out. And sometimes I will grab a bit of code that someone else has done and I stick it in and I say, do you understand this? Just say yes. And then 2 seconds yet it says yes. If you don't say that, it will then give you a massive bunch of splurge, like going, yes, I do understand it. And here's how I understand it. I don't really care. Just say yes. And then I go, now refine this code to do X, Y, Z. And that's the other thing also. Sorry, Matt, I think you're about to say something, but
No.
you can take someone else's code and change it. And one other thing about code snippets that I feel like I have said to the code snippets team, we don't talk about this enough. A lot of us use code snippets to store our PHP codes. You can store HTML as well. So if you've got some funky HTML for whatever, with a bit of CSS as well, whatever, you can use code snippets for that as well to store within your cloud. So if you want to store it over here, you can do. So this isn't just for storing your PHP snippets. You can use this to store tons of stuff. And I've got so many codes, HTML codes for the My Listing theme. Normally they're stuck in Notion or Notes and I have to go and dig them out. I can just start putting them here. And if I want to share it with people, I can just send them the link for that now. I don't have to...
By the same token, and handy CSS.
Exactly.
Like getting rid of that space after the last paragraph in a text box in a
Exactly.
meta.
And so that rather than saying, right, here you go, copy, paste or whatever, you can just send them a link. And that's one thing that when I heard about Code Snippets doing the cloud and they were going to have the pro version, I got a little bit worried about, is there now going to be a paywall? But I have to say, well done to them for allowing you to have a directory of codes that you can use for free. You're right. You don't have to have a pro version, but they would love it if you did, because that Lamborghini costs a lot of money.
I don't think that's going to incentivize people, you know.
No, he'll pick
Probably
you
not.
up. He'll pick you up in his Lamborghini, and you can all go to McDonald's. Can you imagine sharing a filet o fish and that mayonnaise running down your chin with Verdi?
Yeah, again, you're not helping
I
the
know I'm not
cause.
helping them.
No.
People are visualizing the wrong thing now.
Already covered in mayonnaise.
Oh, I'm just going to go back to driving first. Driving first, I'm quite liking the way you're thinking and the questions you're asking. So please, if you have got code snippets to share, please do so. Is there any code snippets to show YouTube channels' latest videos without having to use API? As far as I'm aware, no, because YouTube are very particular about what you can pull back. And I did try this once, and I found that unless you have the API, it just wouldn't do it. What it would do is it might go to the channel, but it doesn't pull it back, because what you have to remember is that API is what drives it. I'm not explaining it very well, but without the API key, even for Instagram, with the way you set your connection up, I couldn't find any way to do that. Is this for your own channel, Driving First? We're all going to go onto YouTube now and search for Driving First and get lots of weird videos of people using golf clubs, because it relates to driving first and stuff, and go, hey, what's this got to do with it? John, when using ChatGPT, you can use square brackets to inform it how many words. That's new. I did not know that. I did not know that, John.
Well, it's meant to.
Wow,
I mean, the
John,
thing
you're
is, I
useful.
think we all treat it as natural language, isn't it? So
We do.
I tend to have conversations with it where I'm pretty rude mostly.
I mean, I've never actually. When you're doing a bit of code, I don't care what it does as long as we get to the right answer. And if I want it to only be 10 words long, I'll say shorten it to 10 words. And then it comes out and I go, can you count? That is 11. Do it again. I'm a bit nasty.
How many times have I asked it to write meta descriptions and keep it under 160 characters, and it comes back with paragraphs?
I mean, hey, if you're following me on Twitter, every morning I go to ChatGPT while I'm on my treadmill. I'm like, right, give me a tweet about how to work harder. And it just writes my tweet for me. And I go, right, I'll refine it a bit and copy and paste. And it's...
I'm really getting tempted to become the anti-Imran, so I should do it. Write me a tweet on how to relax better. Post those daily.
Funnily enough, since Christmas time, normally when it gets to 5 p.m., I stop working now. I go and eat and then sit with my family, or, watch Netflix or TV shows or whatever. And then at 9, after I've put my son to bed, I will either go back to working, or I'll just research stuff on my phone while I'm in bed and whatever. Or so I have managed. I mean, it's not a huge amount, but I have managed to hone in my time a bit. So 4 hours evening now, I do kind of just switch off a bit. But on a side note, I'm sorry, everyone, this is meant to be Code Snippets related, but I'm just going to drop this in here. I've always wanted to watch Fargo. I always hear good stuff about it. The critics rave about it. I never watched it. I watched Fargo season 5 for the first time about 3 weeks ago. Loved it. And in the last 2 weeks, I've watched the Fargo movie, Fargo season 1, Fargo season 2. I'm now on Fargo season 3, and got Fargo. It's I tell you what, it's a great show to watch. Anyway, that is not Code Snippets related, so let's just get back onto the topic.
Paul Burgess, purely for creating code, 3.5 versus 4. Much of a difference.
Oh yeah,
I'll let Imran answer that.
Okay. So I was using ChatGPT 3.5 mainly because I was tight. I didn't want to pay for ChatGPT 4, and the codes it was generating were Yeah, pretty good. You know, a lot of back and forth. And then Mark started putting out code, and I said, "Are you using ChatGPT?" And he went, "He's using the version 4." And I was like, "Is it worth it?" And he was like, "Yeah, you got to try it." That weekend, I signed up. Best move ever, because the codes it pulls out, the way it explains, there was less trial and error, and I was able to push it a bit more because I was trying to do something. I can't remember what it was, and ChatGPT 3.5 just wouldn't get it right. It just wouldn't do what I wanted. ChatGPT 4, within 3 prompts, got it like that. And
The
yeah,
other way you know the difference is when you run out of messages for version 4, it can kick you back to 3.5 if you want. It's a very quick way of breaking all your work. It just gets it wrong.
Robert, what?
I can't imagine you could change
So
it. Oh,
you've turned the code snippet for changing Elementor header on scroll into a free plugin that now has 200,000 active installs. Whoa! I mean, email me info@websquadron.co.co.cock.co.uk. Email me. Let me know, what is this plugin? What code snippet did you use? I'd love to know more about this. And this is something else as well. I would love it that we still keep snippets free, but there is an opportunity for some of you to monetize this. So you might have a snippet that does something, but then you might have your snippet do even more. You might then create a pro premium version. Whether people buy it or not is up to them. But yeah, I mean that's really good to hear. Rob says, what plugin are we discussing? Well, there's a clue over there behind me, and it's the Code Snippets live chat. But yeah, don't worry, I've just seen your your other comment. But yeah, we're talking about Code Snippets.
so
I
the
don't know if you
plugin
were
and
being
the snippets
cheeky there,
themselves.
but yeah,
And we're pretending I'm Atif or Verdi because neither of them are here.
yeah. I don't. There is no planned guest speakers coming on, but I have said to the Code Snippets team, if ever you want to come on to share new developments, or you want to let people know about new things happening, this is the place to come and do it. From what I can tell, no, so I was about to say something. I'm not going to say it now. I was going to say something. So Driving First is going to share a bit of code. What I will say though is maybe don't share anything with me if there is no intention for it to be made into a video and shared. The only reason I'm saying that is I would love to know about it, but if you're happy for us to go and create a video about it, please do share it. If not, don't share it, because I don't want your code to get out into the open and you're like going, well, how did that get out there? But I think you should be massively proud of yourself if you're able to create something that is now allowing you, because what you're doing sounds really hardcore awesome. If you're able to create a booking system, maybe we can take your code and just create a booking system generally, which has nothing to do with driving. We could call it for learners, not drivers.
You're a plonker.
It's nothing related, nothing at all, but that could be a really
So
good thing
I
to do.
mean, sort of you can. I've seen the code for it, but I haven't done it.
Is this for the security headers question?
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say I think so. Um, I spend quite a bit of time when I'm on my phone sometimes searching for code snippets. I'm always trying to find something. The internet is awash with snippets. The trouble is, though, they're copies of stuff you've already seen. So every time you get a blog post that says the 10 code snippets you need to use, it's the same thing. They're literally the same thing. What I really
They
would love,
probably asked ChatGPT what are the 10 code snippets I need to
yeah,
use as well.
but what I'd really love to see is people thinking about something they really want to do, or they are relying on a third party plugin. And if you've got the time to get dirty with ChatGPT or any other system, you can use whatever you want to create that special bit of code. And you don't mind sharing it, you don't mind us putting together a video, and there will always be credit given back to you. So if you
So
create a
yeah, I mean
snippet,
that might actually bite you in the backside. However, it'd be your silly
yes, I
face
think
going,
Mark's realized that as well.
or something
Yes, with his
stupid.
face, you know,
But
because if you ever pull together any code, so Crystal, if you pull together some code, I will always ask you to go and create, on Code Snippets Cloud, which is over here. I would say go and create your account on here and go and add your snippet in. And then I will share your link and I'll do a video. But you will always get name checked. It's always going to be credit back to you. And this is something that you could then share on social media as well, for your own brand, your own profile boost as well. Um, but if you've got the time to do that, because it's a great feeling. I mean, I've had people share snippets and I've had to go back to them and go, it doesn't really do what it needs to do, or I've got to be careful what I say. It's too nicheified. Like someone's shared a snippet with me once, and it was to do something really, really particular, and I was like, I seriously don't think anyone out there is going to care about that kind of thing, and I had to do it in a nice way. But if you think you can crack WooCommerce subscriptions, if you think I mean, look, I've got this weekend, I've got it saved over here. One is, don't you go and do it because I've got to get my video out. But I went and cracked the PayPal donate button as a code snippet. You can go to PayPal, get the HTML and do that. But there is a way that you can actually get the code snippet now to say you have the option to pay $5, $10, $25, or any price you want with a tiny code snippet that you can drop in now as a PayPal donate button.
so
And
you're just
what's really
pushing
cool
the.
about it, there's no API needed.
No, it just needs a PayPal email in the
Just your email,
as a
yeah.
variable in the code. Yeah.
And it was literally like I just had a brainstorm, like, I wonder if we can do this because I want people to donate to me, not to me, but generally. Right, hey George, long time no see, my friend. I'm so
Jump.
wrapped up with stuff, but good to see you here.
Hi George, good to see you. Robert said something just before. Hi
Yeah,
Verdi.
okay, I'm going to come back to Verdi in a moment. Would you be interested in a code snippet I created that adds customizable global gutter control? What is this? Global gutter. This sounds like shit. What gutter stuff are we dealing with here? Robert, info at websquadron.co.uk, which is .co.uk. Send over details. I want to hear and I want to know more about this because you know what? The more we can create that hopefully Elementor develop further or integrate into their system, the better it will be. Verdi, if you want to join Verdi, you can join, okay? I mean, if you can park your Lamborghini and you want to get online, you can do that. But hey,
Or join
Verdi,
us
good to have
from
you
your
here.
Lamborghini.
Hey?
Join from the Lamborghini.
Right, John, is there a maximum number of snippets that can be used on a website? No. As far as I know, no. I mean, the most I've ever put on one website was 12. And that's because it had tons of other stuff going on and I wanted to reduce the need for plugins and things. But as far as I know, I don't think there's I don't think there's an issue.
No, they're just bits of code. I mean, I've got a site I use when I'm testing snippets, and you imagine what that looks like. That's the admin menu on the left is just clogged up with things I'm playing around with.
Now, here's the kind of question I love to answer. I'm so new in trying to understand snippets. Okay, look, you got a website. You might have bricks, breakdance, elemental, Gutenberg, whatever. You got your theme, and you might have used a Hello theme or the 2024 theme or whatever theme you got from Theme Forest. But the page builder or the theme can only do so much, and you now want to do something a little bit extra. Traditionally, you would create a child theme, and either you or a coder would go in and change the child theme, the backend functions and the theme, you'd edit it, or you'd go and get a third-party plugin. And even then, sometimes there might be a bit of manipulation somewhere because maybe the plugin does what you want, but not completely. Code snippets was, when I first started using it 3 years ago, it changed my world. And I'm not kidding here because I hate doing child themes. I'll do it if I have to, but I don't always like doing it because when the parent theme changes, then you got to make sure things are in sync and blah, 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 blah. And sometimes I was guilty of building websites with like 20 plugins. And it wasn't even an e-commerce website because I had to do this and we want to do that and we want to show this. The code snippets means I don't have to always have a child theme. Now, if you want to use code snippets to test out a function, and then you're going to copy and paste it into a child theme, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. You can still use code snippets. But if you don't want to do a child theme, which I don't like doing, especially if I hand over a website to a client, because the minute I say I'm going to give you a child theme, they start panicking. They go, what are you talking about? So if you're nervous about it, code snippets is your friend. And if you want to reduce the need to use a plugin, I keep going on about the page speed videos. So many people, if you read the comments, had paid and were using WP Rocket. Then they switched to the theme, the snippets, and they're getting better scores for free. So they're not using WP Rocket. And I'm not slating WP Rocket. I'm just saying this is real life comments, right? This is not fake commentary. Do you want to give your take on the benefits of using snippets?
Yeah, I
For a
mean,
moment, I thought you'd gone into a coma.
no, I was just being respectful and polite.
I know you were. You've been very good, but go on.
Bonus number one, I don't need to go into functions.php. Fantastic. Not having to open up an FTP program ever in my life is one of life's little joys. They're isolated. Code snippets will tell you if you've messed up to some extent. It's organized. Somebody has said could be slightly better organized, maybe with folders, but that's a problem for another day. It's just really handy. You can turning them on and off quickly. That's great too.
Oh,
and the cloud, so you can have your selection of I always use this, that, and the other. There's a few up there that I can just pull down, run once in some cases for a certain task. Yeah, they're just really handy. So much less stressful. But also, I mean, you went to the shut up, John. You went to the sort of the detail of how and where you use them. I mean, what you use them for. I mean, the simple example is you've got a button, WooCommerce buy. I think is it buy now is the default text. You can write a code snippet that changes that everywhere. No need for it because you can get plugins that do that. So
exactly,
it can be really simple.
Exactly,
really simple. And then you can refine it further. So, but I only want it to say this if the product is in a certain category.
Exactly.
And
it's like I put out a code snippet a while ago where normally when you do WooCommerce, you have a thank you page, and it's the same thank you page for every product. What if you want to have a different thank you page? So let's say you're selling a virtual or a downloadable product. So after they purchase it, you want it to go to a different page for different products, code snippet. And what's so cool is you could have a code snippet for product A, and you put in the ID into the code and which URL it goes to, and then you'll have another code snippet for a different load of IDs, and it goes to a different page. And you might go, well, we're going to activate it, and we'll deactivate that one or swap it around or whatever. You could even have seasonal code snippets, because I spoke to someone about this before Christmas, where I said, when it gets to Christmas time, you could have a code snippet that does da, 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 da. And every Christmas you activate that. And when it's not the Christmas season, you now activate the other snippet. So that one is now off and it does other stuff. And they were like, oh my God. And it does all the work for them. And it's...
I mean, WooCommerce is a great place for snippets.
Yeah,
I mean, I've got one that auto completes an order. Because if it's
I use that on our website.
I built a leaderboard type page for site admin to see which customers have spent most on a monthly or all-time basis. Again, just all code snippets.
Yeah, removing checkout fields. I had a snippet. Mark took it a step further. What Mark did was even better, and we put
Oh
the
yeah,
video out for that. And it's like so many of these things were hidden away. Well, not hidden away, but they were in premium plugins. And when you look at it, they were quite basic. Now, Nazila says, I don't think the code snippets is going down any time soon. All right. I have weekly meetings with the code snippets team behind the scenes where we talk about stuff. They are going places. They are developing stuff. Okay. Atif, who a lot of you will be maybe familiar with, he's the guy who walks around, walks into people's houses, just sets up his machine, has to wait he's got squatter rights, waits for the police to chuck him out if they do or not. He's working with them as well, developing, and they are not looking to close down anytime soon. And if you ask anyone who is happy to use code snippets, there are lots of other solutions out there. I'm not going to lie, but code snippets is one that people will have heard of and they will be using or they have used.
Yeah.
Rudy. Thanks for all the great info. I don't know how much I don't know much. That's the other thing, right? I've been building websites now for 20 years, more seriously in the last 5 years. But prior to that, HTML, yeah, CSS, yeah, JavaScripting. I get a bit scared of all of that, but I can work with it. ChatGPT has allowed so many of us to now do things that we probably would have taken us days or weeks to work out and experiment with, or we'd have to go and contact someone and say, can you help us out? ChatGPT opens the door. Code Snippet allows me and Mark and you and everyone else to now test it out. I don't like child themes. I get really nervous about it. I just don't like it. I don't get excited by it. I get scared. I can now do that with the safety of code snippets. That being said, though, if you are testing something or you've gone and got some snippet from somewhere, please always do make sure you've got daily backups or you have taken a backup. I have got a video which is called safe mode. So if ever you put in a snippet and you activate and you get the white screen of death, and every time you log in, it goes, what do I do? What do I do? If you ever get that, go and watch the safe mode video. It's really easy to deactivate all of code snippets. So you can now remove that dangerous bit of code you might have popped in. All right. So don't start panicking. You can sort it out.
Yeah. And AI ChatGPT is really good at JavaScript.
It is.
It's really good at that.
Were you much of a JavaScripter before using ChatGPT?
No, not really. I've got this kind of functional knowledge, can read a bit, tweak a bit.
That's kind of where I was. Like George, I know you're a bit of a JavaScripter, aren't you? I don't know how much ChatGPT you're using though, or are you using it much at all? Right. Now we have been live for 1 hour. I actually was planning to only do this for about half an hour, but with Mark coming on, I feel like we were able to talk a lot more, and that's not a bad thing, by the way, Mark. And I feel this is the first ever Code Snippets live chat, and we haven't shared any major snippets. And I'm hoping in future ones I'll start to dig out snippets or some from any videos or things I've done before, and we can talk more about them. And we can maybe share them and go, look, have you ever considered doing this? Have you ever considered doing that? And maybe next time.
And maybe show off snippets that other people have sent you.
Exactly.
Not just that you or I have created, but like really cool, different.
Well, definitely for next week. I've got to rethink if I'm going to do next week because I might be busy next week. But if we do one next week, I would definitely want to have a look at the CSS grid one. Pop that online because I know people have seen it, but I think we need to remind people about that one, mainly because of the fact that now that I've started doing some bento videos and I have got more planned to come out, people are going to ask the question, well, how do I do that? And how do I do this? And I think it's great because I took a screenshot of that page that person wanted so that we can go, right, look, here's what they want. here's how you do it with the CSS grid and all of that. So I think that's going to be something really interesting.
I don't quite know what was going on there, because the answer was given in the question. Yeah, but the thing about that snippet is you can tell it's going to work from the little preview. That's right. Good. Fine. Done. Didn't need to actually put it onto the page.
Right, I'm going to just say, just checking. I don't think there's any burning questions coming in. I mean, George does use GitHub
Copilot.
Copilot. It's Copilot,
Copilot.
isn't it? Not Copital, because someone's now going to go and Google
Copital.
I'm really please be careful of who's around when you stick on the images for Copital. I don't know. It sounds a bit weird.
It's like a hospital where you go if you can't code.
Yes. Don't worry, George. We know what you meant. Thank you again to Mark. In future, we might have members of the Code Snippets team coming on. Please do let me know. Don't forget to smash the like button. Do let me know in the video comments. So you don't have to comment here, but in the actual YouTube video, please do let me know what did you think about having this separate dedicated Code Snippets, because I feel like when I do the other live chat, we tend not to focus too much on the code because there's always other stuff to talk about. 90% of what we talk about is not even WordPress related. And then we're just trawling through lots of questions. What's that?
It's Paul.
Yeah, it's Paul's fault. It's Paul's fault.
Paul's fault.
Yeah, but I think it's good to kind of, because no one else does this. I don't think, as far as I'm aware, anyone has got like a dedicated live chat where we start to talk about code snippets, exploring and applauding. And I think that's something I really want to do. I want to find other snippets that maybe I haven't done a video or haven't considered and start giving people the credit. Because I'm not the only one who's put on snippets on the cloud. There's loads of other people, but I bet we don't even know about them. And if we can start doing shout outs, whether they know about the shout out or not is slightly irrelevant. But I feel like the major reason why I use WordPress, and it's why Dave Foy came back from Webflow to WordPress, is the community. And we are a community. And I feel like no matter what page builder, you love to kiss, we're our community.
Be you a fan or an anti-fan?
Hey?
Be you a fan or an anti-fan?
I have to say, though, did you see Paul's video today with the 10 things you shouldn't do? And he gets around.
He never did, did he?
Yeah, you get around to the 2-minute 20 mark, and then he kind of brings "don't do what breakdance have done." And
oh no, I didn't think he was actually going to do it.
It was kind of good. But yeah, I mean, if anyone out here has an idea for a snippet, put it in the comments. Yeah. There is no guarantee that I, Mark, George, Tao Kangas, John, there's no guarantee anyone's going to look at it. But if someone says something, it suddenly might make us go, Like I mentioned WooCommerce subscriptions. Maybe one of you out there has got an idea. Maybe Mark's got an idea. Maybe Mark will give me a code tomorrow morning. He probably won't. He's probably going to go, I don't give a shit. But, maybe someone out there will have an idea. And I feel like if we can empower each other to build better, we become better. And we live longer. There's no correlation between code snippets and living longer, by the way. Anyway, look, I'm going to say goodbye
there might
now.
be if it reduces your stress from plug-in updates and vulnerability patches.
Do you know what? You're right, mate. You are right, actually.
Code snippets make you live longer. You heard it here first.
It does. You are right, actually. And if we can help each other out, it's great. And no mention of Uranus, except right now. Okay. I'm going to say
goodbye. Channel we can subscribe to with our new snippet, isn't it?
We could create one, couldn't we? So instead of saying howdy at the top of WordPress, it now says, how's Uranus?
Imagine that. There you go. There's a snippet challenge.
First person watching this, like Birdie's right now falling off his chair.
First person to publish that snippet gets a can of Pepsi Max.
Do you know what? Should we do that and just see if like Code Snippets AI, when it approves it, says, is this verified? Do you know what? Let's do it.
Can't be complicated.
It can't be. And no, it won't be. There is a snippet for that. I bet we can do that.
Ratio.
Then I'll do a video as well for it as well. So I don't know who did this snippet, but here's how you change it, and we'll actually put the word how's Uranus or something like that.
Actually, you should make, if you're going to do a snippet for that, right? Serious thing. Howdy. Okay, I haven't got a problem with it, but maybe it says howdy for me. It probably says howdy for you, even with WordPress UK installed. Does it change it if people have got WordPress installed in a different language, or does it always say howdy?
Yes. Anyone here who's not like using the English language as your setting. In fact, I bet you could test that ourselves. If I was to go
I'm
to
sure I've
settings,
seen a screenshot where it says Willkommen, but I could be just making it up.
I'm really scared now. I've gone and picked something where all of my languages are probably going to change throughout my entire websites. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yes, it does. So if I show you my screen, if we go over here to, where are we? So I've gone to the Amharic language.
Well, okay, you didn't even choose come on, at least choose something that's not a
But it
different
has, can you see it up
script.
there? Oh no,
Choose
I think you mean
French
going, oh
or
God, I've now got to pick, oh God, no, it's which I don't even know which one it is now. Should we go for Deutsch? Because that should work. Let's see what we get. So with German,
there you go. That doesn't say howdy, does it?
it says welcome.
Okay.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? Sorry, everyone. We're going on a bit of a
Well, the idea for the snippet, if it had always just said howdy, was it would replace it with something appropriate
Oh, there we go.
in your
Bonjour. I've
language
gone to
setting.
French, and we've gone to bonjour.
Okay, so it's just us Brits who have to suffer the Americanism, is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, right. I'm gonna stop sharing that. I'm gonna say thank you to everyone who is here. I hope you like it. I hope you smashed the like button.
Why am I full screen here?
Oh, sorry. I wanted to give you like, the kudos and everything.
Right.
Thanks to everyone. Hopefully we'll be back again on a weekly basis, and let's share and spread the love for code snippets. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Goodbye.